Buenas a todos. A ver, hoy voy a hablar de la nueva navegación. Me da la sensación que está un poco fuerte. ¿Me escucháis bien? ¿Sí? ¿Sí? Perfecto. Vale, tranquilos, no voy a cantar, o sea que no, sin problemas. No queréis que cante. Vale, pues para los que no me conozcáis, soy Cristina Chumillas, vivo en Varna, en Barcelona, en Cecrina en Drupal.org y ahora mismo soy la UX Lead del Drupal CMS, pero soy Core Committer UX Maintainer y Lead Engineer en Lulabot, que para que no lo conozcáis es una empresa de Estados Unidos. Vale. In theory, this is in English, so I'm going to try to do some Span English because I've heard some people yesterday had some issues, so I'm going to do like both and both. ¿Bien con el inglés? ¿Sí? Yeah? Okay, let's try this. Okay, who has tried the new navigation? Like, hands up. ¿Quién ha probado la nueva navegación de... ¡Hola! Bueno, bastantes. Bien. Perfecto. Pues, a ver, no tiene mucho secreto. Ahora mismo está como experimental en Core. Fue una aventurilla divertida, pero se lo metimos en abril. Justo antes de la DrupalCon, justo unos días antes, y fue divertido. We just put that in core. That's going to be complicated to do this switch. Anyway, so we put that in core like a few days before DrupalCon Portland. It was an interesting experience. Basically, this is the new navigation. Doesn't have a lot of secrets if you compare it with things that are out there. But for Drupal, it's been a big change because from the top bar that we had in the past, or we still have, on the top, it basically created this new side bar on the left. So basically, you can see much more stuff, and you have like the screen more open. And this is also going to be on Drupal CMS, which, how many of you know what Drupal CMS and Starshot are? Well, more than a half. Okay, if you don't know enough, tomorrow there is going to be a session about that by Lauri. Lauri va a hablar un poco de lo que es Drupal CMS, Starshot. Así que si queréis más info, he's gonna explain more stuff about that. But switching into the navigation itself, why did we do that? ¿Por qué creamos una nueva navegación para Drupal? Basically, we wanted to empower site builders to easily build the best solution for their own site. Okay, so básicamente queríamos que la gente se pudiese customizar su propia UI. Site builders. So basically the goal is that people will be able to customize their own UI, their own admin UI. So it's not just the front end. For your clients, you will be able to decide which is the menu that they will see. So based on their needs, you will be able to go and change a lot of things that might help to give better instructions to clients. And this is actually one of the big improvements that the admin interface has had since Claro. There's way more stuff coming, but this has been one of the big ones since Claro. So from this whole project, there has been several areas that happened. There was an ongoing process for the information architecture that is still going. Aún hay un montón de gente trabajando la arquitectura de la información, los menús, pero work in progress, and it will be for a long time because Drupal things go at its own pace. But anyway, for the navigation itself, we started with research more than a year back, and basically what we wanted is to improve the experience navigating Drupal. We wanted to make it easier for people to understand the navigation itself. So we started with research to know which things needed to change. Then we jumped into designs to come up with several ideas, test that, then ask for help. And then before starting even the front-end development, we already started testing things. And from there, we actually started creating a prototype. And even before creating a solution already in Drupal, we started testing if that interaction was the right interaction for people. And then we started integrating that with Drupal, adding all the backend and plugging everything in with Drupal. Básicamente fue un proceso donde primero empezamos con todos los test de usabilidad, diseño y research para definir qué tenía que haber ahí. And the goal was to put that in Drupal core. What we did basically 1 or 2 weeks before DrupalCon Portland. But something that also happened at DrupalCon Portland is Drupal CMS. It was the big announcement. Apareció de la nada Drupal CMS, cambiando toda la trayectoria y todas las cosas que se tenían que hacer. So basically we had a plan, and Drupal CMS came, and it was like, okay, now we need to adapt the plan. But wait for that. So basically the Drupal CMS, or Starshot, which is the code name, and I'm going to still say Starshot years from now, but anyway, it was announced in May, and basically, as I was saying, we put that in core on April, the end of April, and at the beginning of May it was DrupalCon. And the navigation became a track of Drupal Starshot, Drupal CMS, in October, like this past month, officially, but it was already on the Drupal CMS. The track leads are Pablo, who is somewhere in there. Yeah, hi. The last at the end. Thank you for the support. And Matt Olivera, both colleagues from Lullabot. But then Experience Builder came into the picture for the navigation tool some weeks back. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but basically everything is a little bit complicated when you want to do something in Drupal. Cada vez que quieres tocar algo, es básicamente levantas una piedra y te salen 25 más. So this is Drupal. Basically you start something and you need to coordinate with a lot of people. So let's talk a little bit of the research, why we ended up where we ended up and how we landed in there. The navigation work probably started around 2022, 2022, con la research de qué queríamos mejorar en la admin interface, what the new things that we wanted to change on the UI, make the UX, the user experience better. So basically, everything started there. Some of the things that we wanted to do is to improve things for different personas. Basically, the needs from a content user are completely different from the needs from a site administrator. Like, you don't want the same menu, or that was the assumptions that we had at the time. So basically, we divided for the navigation. We now have other personas for Starshot, for Drupal CMS, for example. But at the time, the main personas that were going to use the admin interface were these 3 ones. So we needed to divide and conquer, but basically divide the work that each of them were going to do. So we basically started defining user journeys. For those of you that don't know what user journeys is, it's basically a detailed step-by-step journey that a user is going to do. But the goal of that is to add empathy towards that user. Ayudar básicamente al user journey es para ayudar a que la gente que está desarrollando un producto entienda lo que el usuario va a necesitar. Básicamente es desarrollar empatía. So basically what we did is to get the toolbar that we had and reorder several places in here. For example, on the left you have the content. This is something that the content user is going to need. So let's just put all together, put it on the first level for the content user. So basically, this way we kind of reordered some things from the admin interface, and we kind of came up with different menus. And from the research that we did, we discovered that basically the site builder is, and both the site builder and the site administrator also want to have the content menu on the top. So we ended up not having two completely different navigations for content users and site administrators. Basically, it's going to be the same one. It's just the content that you have in there maybe distributed differently. But for now, every test confirms that everybody wants to have access to this. So basically, we created a prototype in Drupal. First, we started trying that out. We integrated that with the system menu, and then we implemented the new features and new designs on that. This is on the issue queue on Drupal. You can see that on this issue, but basically, we did like several rounds of user tests. We did surveys, so it wasn't just user tests. It was a complete research with different things. And then from this research, we discovered several things. And it wasn't just that people wanted to create menus and reorder menus and customize the menus and the items that you could see on the navigation. People actually wanted to customize this navigation. It wasn't like a top priority, but it was something that people wanted. So basically, we said, okay, we can maybe beyond the menus, we can create new menus, and we can change things like even the logo, for example, and that will let companies really customize the admin interface for the clients. Then we were like deciding and trying to find a way to actually allow users to put more stuff beyond menus. Not only menus could go here. Imagine that somebody wants to add like a status block where you show some small notifications or something that is not a menu actually. So we basically said, okay, the wrapper, lo que va a sostener la información va a ser un bloque y dentro del bloque va a haber el menú. So basically, we decided to go with blocks and reuse something that Drupal already had, which is the block layout. And we said, just makes sense, we're using blocks, menus inside blocks, this is existing, let's just reuse something and not reinvent the wheel. But this is Drupal, and things are not that easy. So the weekend before that we had the maximum date where we could merge this in, the framework managers came and said, oh, well, we don't think you should be using blocks layout to actually reorder that. We think you should use Layout Builder. And we were working on some things on Friday, and we came up on Monday, and basically the MR for the navigation changed from using block layout to actually use Layout Builder. And like, I remember Pablo and Matt were like, what happened over a weekend? So basically we needed to like fix a lot of things, change a lot of stuff. Over just a few weeks, everything changed, a few days, not weeks. Everything changed, and basically we ended up using Layout Builder to actually go and change whatever you have in here. So you can actually drag and drop the menus, add menus, and drag and drop the menus. And you have this tool now from Drupal core. So the navigation itself created a new design system. This obviously evolved over time, but this new design system had several components. We architecture all the front end with components, and now all these components are being converted into SDC. Basically, last week we got the first component merged in with SDC, and that's, well, something broke, something needed to be fixed, but yeah, this is Drupal. So basically, we have the admin interface in Drupal using SDC. How many people has used SDC in here in a project? Proud hands in there. I've used it, yeah. Well, if you're a front-end developer, you want to learn SDC and how to do stuff with SDC. Si queréis ser front-end developers en Drupal, realmente aprender cómo funciona SDC, Single Directory Components, es lo que queréis aprender como front-end developer. La vida es mucho más fácil con eso. Anyway, so about the layout itself, the navigation moved from the top bar, as the toolbar was at the top, and the navigation moved into the left. That's actually a strategy that we had for a long time, to actually reorder the interface. And basically, this was the first Lego piece. La primera pieza que nosotros queríamos mover de un Lego para reordenar toda la interfaz de Drupal. And the navigation was the first step. So basically, this was the plan. This is more or less if you install the navigation with core. There are other things that we want to change on the navigation itself, but again, a lot of things are going to change with layout builders, so be more, wait for layout builder because it's going to change a lot of things. Something big that is also happening right now is that we're trying to standardize both extensions and integrations to find a way to integrate, and what's the right way to integrate your thing, your module, your extension, your block, your whatever, into the navigation. We need to find a standard way and an easy way for people to provide things in here. So there will be several contrib modules that add stuff, so that's the next big step. Front-end improvements that we had on the navigation. I'm proud to say that no jQuery is used on the navigation. So yeah, front-end people, you're welcome. Well, I didn't do the work. I actually ended up like doing more of the pinta y colorea with the design and research, but there was a lot of people and it was like a big deal. And I think it's a big deal. Modern CSS. There is a meta issue to move everything to SDC, single directory components. And something that, as somebody that is not just a developer, but also a designer, I studied graphic design and moved more than 12, 13, actually it's going to be maybe 14 years now, into development. So I see both sides. So something that I really love is the safe triangle. Have you ever heard about that? Anybody here have heard about that? 1, 2, 3 people, nice. We didn't invent that. It was, I think it was by Amazon. Basically, is that you start moving from somewhere, and I'm not sure if you've ever tried. Who is a front-end developer in the room? Front-end developer? Oh, not that many. We need more developers, front-end developers. Anyway, if you know some JavaScript, if you want to move from here to here, you're actually getting out of the button. So if you have something in here that depends on that, you either add a delay to the next action, or the moment that you get out of the button, the menu closes. So if you get a delay, then everything is super slow. So basically this strategy let you calculate what are the possible movements, future movements of your mouse, and basically it doesn't close unless you get out of this. So it's a really cool improvement. There are a few things that needs to be fixed, but I really love this small detail. Sorry, nerds doing stuff. We love it. Accessibility. This is something that people usually don't care, but this is really important, especially because we were targeting Drupal core. We needed to abide with core accessibility gates. These gates are basically, lo voy a decir en español, WC, AG, no lo sé deletrear en inglés, whatever. Double A, and we basically want to make sure that whatever we do with the navigation works with all the browsers that Drupal core needs to comply with. So basically, this is a lot of times people don't care about that, but there's a lot of people in the Drupal community that do care a lot. So we had a lot of people testing things and finding stable blockers on the navigation for that. And then, the top bar. Not sure if you remember a few slides before, I was talking about the Lego pieces. Basically, reordering things through the admin interface. When we moved the top bar or the toolbar to the left, we ended up with this empty space at the top that we could actually reuse. So we basically decided that we were going to use the top bar. And we said, okay, the goal of this slide is not for you to understand exactly which was decided, but summary, the left was the site-wide navigation. No, you won't be able to read that. I made that small enough on purpose. So basically, on the left, you will have site-wide navigation, like something that you need to move around the whole site. But the top bar is going to be the contextual information, contextual stuff that you need for the page that you are at the moment, and that information is going to be on the top bar. So whatever you do site-wide, it's on the left. And then you can actually go and collapse the left navigation, but the top bar is going to be used for contextual navigation. So we came up with these designs. So on the left, you have the site-wide navigation. You can even go to the dashboard. And then you have the top bar. And we decided that the left part of the top bar was going to be to contextualize a little bit where you are, to give you some extra information. And then on the left, you would be able to have main action, move the save button to the top, the preview, more actions if you want to delete. Some people are going to say, I want to delete super big because it's a button, it has to go there. No, the delete doesn't have to be there because how many times you go and delete something versus how many times you go and save something. Well, and then you have the trigger to open and close the sidebar or settings or advanced stuff. And we started implementing this. First, we moved the tabs, local actions from the inside to the top. That's something that if you enable the top bar, it's already in there. It's hidden as an experimental module inside an experimental module in core. I love to call it Troy horse, un caballo de Troya dentro de core, o sea, experimental dentro de experimental, pero está ahí. Entonces, básicamente sacamos las tabs del frontend también. You basically don't have the local tasks, the tabs embedded in the frontend. They are at the top. Themers, frontend developers, you're welcome. So basically, that was the first step, and the goal was to basically start changing things. But then, hi Laurie, Experience Builder came. And they have a top bar also. And we said, oh, well, we need to work together because if we want a seamless experience to go from one place to another, we better try at least to coordinate a little bit. Who knows something about Experience Builder? Yeah, Laurie, come on, you should know something about that. Okay, so basically Experience Builder is not going to use the normal admin UI, it's going to use React. So basically they are two completely different ways or two completely different interfaces within Drupal. So even though if they look different, and Lauri probably can explain way more about what means entering or accessing the experience builder area, you really want to at least give the editor, user, site builder, whoever, a similar experience. And then, well, we basically needed to coordinate several things. So, welcome to Drupal. So, nowadays, Drupal core uses Claro. Drupal CMS uses Gin. Who knows what Gin is? Okay, almost everybody. Okay. Then, experience builders. So, basically, the Drupal CMS uses Gin. Experience builder is actually using its own design for now, but we want them to look similar. The navigation is in core, and it's being enabled by default on the Drupal CMS. And then, well, Experience Builder is coming for basically staying. So we needed to coordinate, and we thought that one of the key pieces, not the only one, but one of the key pieces is coordinate together and come up with a top bar that helps make this transition between different places. And it's the same bar, for example, that you can have in several interfaces. So basically, the top bar, what you're seeing here, is a result of some of the initial collaboration with the Experience Builder team. But the title, as you can see, is on the center. Yes, we have the edit button on the right. So basically, we needed to change several things from that initial exploration that we were working on. And it's not just that. Not sure if you know, but Starshot, Drupal CMS, big one, is going to be ready in January. So we need to have our RC release, our release candidate, in December. O sea, para diciembre tenemos que tener algo que funcione. So beta, 2 weeks before that. It's basically 1 month from now. So some work to do. So basically, we need to start implementing things. We're discussing exactly which things we need to do, how we move forward fast. We reuse some of the work that has already happened, and basically, as you can see, the title at the center, the actions can stay in there, but we're going to group them at the top right, and then whatever happens on the left, this is going to be decided. You can see here an example of how this could be to provide a preview of the web that you're seeing on a mobile, for example. The most important part is that you don't have the tabs in there, and we are all working on having this top bar. Maybe if you're coming from Experience Builder, you're previewing content that is with Experience Builder, the stuff or the tools that you have on the top are different, but you have a top bar. And it's similar or the same top bar. Maybe not the same buttons, but the same top bar that you're going to have for a form that is not using Experience Builder. Así que vamos a tener la misma top bar para todos, quizá diferentes botones, pero básicamente va a ser similar. Priorities. So basically, the most important one is getting to stable, ASAP, ya mismo. Solve anything that we have with Drupal CMS that needs to get in, coordinating with other tracks from other people doing stuff for Drupal CMS to make sure that it works. And obviously the top bar to make sure that we have a seamless experience across the admin interface. And this is Drupal, so people just go to their home and they start doing things. So there are things already happening that are extensions or integrations for the toolbar. So we have the navigation's extra tools. Basically, you can flash caches, run crons, updates, a lot of the stuff that you could have before with the admin toolbar. This is already a module extending Drupal core. See several people taking pictures. It's navigation extra tools. That's probably it's going to be easy to find. And this is something that I really like. It's icon management and a new API to manage icons by default. We are going to have Experience Builder. We're going to use a lot of design systems. Colors, typography, components are stuff that you need to have on a design system, but icons too. So basically, the people from the UI suite, basically they came up with a way that they're a module that they're going to use. It's already working. It's called, I think, UI icons. It's embedded in their UI suite. But they proposed this in Drupal core. We are coordinating with core committers. They are getting feedback from core committers and reviews, fast reviews. So we want to get that in the next Drupal release for 11.1. So hopefully the navigation will provide a way to customize the icons soon, but not yet in stable. We need to have the horse troy working with a top bar. So if you want to get involved, you can come and ask me or Pablo out there at the end. Say hi. You can go also into the issue queue and search for issues on the navigation module. There is a meta issue with all the stable issues that are in there if you want to start with the hard stuff. We also have the need for people to coming up with ideas to stuff that needs to be integrated on the navigation because we need examples. And this way we will be able to design properly for those examples and put stuff on the right way, either on the left bar or on the top bar. The Slack channel on the Drupal Slack is admin UI. And yeah, I'm not sure if there's going to be sprints in here. I reuse a slide from DrupalCon. So admin UI table is the thing that we usually have. Thank you.
Gracias, Cristina. Has enseñado unos screenshots donde los botones estaban ahí a derecha, pero si lo haces ahora, realmente esos botones todavía no están.
No, de hecho.
¿Es eso parte de los blockers que tenéis para dejarlo de experimental o cuál es un poco
Vale, espera.
el camino?
Esto es lo que está ahora mismo en Navigation. Si instalas Navigation, básicamente lo tienes a la izquierda. Esto lo hemos abierto un montón para que sea súper fácil y tú puedas añadir cosas a través de la UI, por lo menos menús a través de la UI, que sea súper fácil. Esto no. Esto vamos a proveer, dile hook, dile whatever, pero si tú quieres añadir algo aquí arriba, es que es complicado, como vayas a una pantalla más pequeña, you can't put everything on the small screen. You need. So basically, this is going to be hard to add new stuff in here. You will need to develop. Vas a tener que programar si quieres añadir algo aquí. Vamos a proveer una forma estándar para los contrips, los módulos contribuidos, que pueden meter cosas aquí arriba tranquilamente. Pero realmente lo que va a ser el top bar, no. La barra de la izquierda sí que puedes añadir menús a través de la UI, a lo mejor hay algún módulo contrib que te deja añadir otras cosas. Pero la top bar es un poco, a nivel de usabilidad, como pongas cosas, te puedes cargar.
Is that one of the blockers for it not to be experimental?
Top bar?
Yeah. Okay.
Top bar, we kind of decided that at some point, well, we maybe can skip that, but now it's an stable blocker because we need that for Experience Builder and coordination with other things. So maybe we can find a way to not block everything, pero va a acabar siendo, o sea, al final se tiene que hacer casi ya mismo, o sea, quizá el stable viene después, pero lo metemos esto antes o no acabamos de meterlo todo arriba, pero tenemos que solucionarlo antes de enero, segurísimo, o sea, antes de diciembre, de hecho.
Ok. Pues va un poco relacionado con eso, hay deadlines y como poniéndome el sombrero un poco de usuario final que se va a instalar Drupal CMS, habrá cosas que quizás no entren, que se recorten.
Sí, no te estoy entendiendo nada.
Que...
No se escucha desde aquí.
Ah, vale.
Se está acoplando, vale.
Pues no sé. Que como usuario que va a instalarse Drupal CMS en enero o febrero, y esto es un plan muy ambicioso, habrá cosas que no entren, tendrá que salir de experimental sí o sí, se retrasa todo el proyecto, os despiden de Drupal.
Vale, vale, no he entrado mucho en el tema de Drupal CMS para explicar lo que es Drupal CMS. Básicamente Drupal CMS seguramente no sea una cosa donde las grandes agencias que crean grandes webs es la cosa que vayan a coger e instalar por defecto al principio. Entonces, Core va a seguir existiendo y va a seguir siendo una pieza clave para la gran mayoría que hace webs contundentes mínimamente. Entonces, para Starshot, para Drupal CMS, sí que es un blocker tener navigation funcionando. Básicamente, so experience, because I'm going to say things that involve Lauri, so I want to say that in English also. So basically, Experience Builder is going to ship as not stable, obviously, at the beginning, but it's going to be some way, some form of Experience Builder on January already. So toolbar, for example, needs to be done.
Okay.
Because it needs to be integrated. So there is no way we are shipping Starshot.
So almost 100% of the things we saw today, we are going to see them in Drupal core at least, no? Like 100% of the things we saw today in the talk, we're going to see them at least in Drupal core, no?
See, so
even though if it's experimental.
Yeah, no. So the goal is that it's not experimental on January anymore. So that's, so even if we don't get into 11.1, it's going to become stable before January.
Okay.
We haven't defined a process for deciding. So we don't want modules, contrib modules that don't have a stable release on Drupal CMS, or I don't think it's, I'm not sure if it's beta or stable. I'm not sure right now. I know alpha for sure not, but beta probably yes. But for Drupal core, because we only have stable or experimental, we haven't decided what experimental means for core. So we're still deciding, but navigation itself, it's going to be stable by then.